Hey guys, and welcome to another video. This is going to be unscripted, so there'll be definitely some rambling. I wanted to use this video not because of the first part, so do forgive me for the first part. I'm not really going to commentate over too much related to what's actually going on in the game because it's relatively boring. Matchmaking was a little unfair here. There has to be a pre-made on the enemy team, otherwise we wouldn't have gotten into this match. So for example, I immediately go into the first person here that's lingering. He also happens to be a tank, that's why he's shielded, or he's using a shield as a tank. When you see that shield icon, it usually means that they're a tank or they're using a shield. And I'm pretty sure in his situation he is actually a tank, or he's playing Rage Jug. I can't actually remember. But I want to go over like what's happening with Fury, what's the change with Fury, how are we playing Fury now compared to last expansion, because I know some people are like, oh well, some things are outdated and whatnot. My Marauder guide is still mostly up to date. I do have a Marauder like Fury rotational guide, and I highly recommend checking that out if you're actually wanting to improve your DPS and understand like the tips and tricks of how to squeeze out the most damage, but I'll talk about it here too. So the main thing that's happening right now with Fury, you can use Force Crush and get benefits of Crush having the 100% crit window, including Dual Saber Throw, even though Dual Saber Throw is a little bit less useful to, get that benefit on. So what basically happens is that once you've used the ability and then you pop like Berserk right before you hit Fear Strike, or let's say Obliterate or Force Scream or whatever it is that you have to use because you don't have anything else up, and you already hit the button, you can then make Crush auto crit and you can make Dual Saber Throw auto crit. Obviously, you usually want to prioritize Crush because Crush can hit pretty hard, it's yellow damage. So usually how you would do it is Force Crush into Raging Burst, so you're getting the Destruction proc for your Raging Burst, but you're also having the proc already like pre-built from Leaping or Obliterating, and then you'll hit Berserk when you go into Fear Strike. This means that when Fear Strike hits, the last tick of Force Crush will also auto crit with the Fear Strike or Dispatch or whatever else that you use. This is like really good, like, really good. This will increase your DPS overall on the class by a considerable amount, especially if you're parsing. Parsing is pretty much mandatory to always do that. Even parsers right now are clicking off their Berserk buff. So what I mean by that is that once they get 30 stacks and they pop Berserk, they will click off Berserk immediately, so they can basically start building Fury once again. So Fury is what you get to get your Berserk. So they're just clicking that off because you do get a lockout of basically like how long you can start rebuilding Fury, and they're basically clicking off the lockout. Doing this in like a PvE situation is probably doable, but it's definitely not recommended and probably a little bit hard, and if you're not experienced you're going to really screw it up. So that's why some of the parses look really skewy and screwed and a little bit just weird or off, I guess you could say. And this tank is pretty squishy, but he is definitely a tank. Again, the main reason you know that he's a tank is just because he's shielding there, and he's using rather basic warrior abilities. He may not be using Crushing Blow or Backhand, but he's definitely doing stuff that a normal tank would, or basic abilities that Rage also has access to. It would look different if it was Vengeance, because he'd use Dispatch. Dispatch turns into Hue for Vengeance, so there'd be a different animation for that. So he's at least Rage or Immortal. But I'm going to go with Immortal, who's just using a shield. Here, I end up, I can't remember exactly when I do it, but I'm pretty sure it's like right around now. I stay over here to pretty much duel. They go back mid to secure it, because, why not win? And in this situation, if you're ever fighting against Marauders or just other Marauders in general, you always want to make sure that your Fear Strike is always going on. Like, every single time you have it, always use it, because it gives you defense chance. And when you get defense chance, it means they have a chance to just miss pretty much everything they've got. So I'm always prioritizing that, even if it's like not the best thing to use in my rotation, but I'm also trying to prioritize using Obliterate, and Obliterate will give me a mini ward, and it's really good. And I end up stealthing out here because I know there's something else that's coming. So I go for the med pack here to basically regen. And I don't want to immediately show back up there because there's 2 people there. I don't want to face tank 3 players. I will fight them, but I'm not going to try to face, just completely face tank here. And I'm at like 1 solo kill at this point. This is why I wanted to clip this, by the way. Or not clip this, but upload this. So I'm going to just try to stop them from capping. I'm not going to be able to completely do it, but I want to try to dispatch somebody immediately. So stopping the cap here is not necessarily in a winning situation a smart thing to do completely. So we got our second solo kill, and this one necessarily should not count for a third one. But we do have 6 solo kills at the end of the screen. And I'm not really sure where we get 6. I know we have 5, but I'm not really sure where the 6th one is coming from. So that's a little strange. So I actually end up getting back up here, so we'll be able to, clear this little cap. And I'll just focus on killing these guys. Again, obviously, always prioritize Fear Strike, Obliterate. Those 2 will help you fight other white damage dealers. You don't have to just use it for Marauder. Especially when you're just trying to do damage, you're not trying to completely follow rotation, you should always prioritize your highest damage abilities, and always weave your destruction procs between Force Crush and Berserk, as if you don't, you're losing damage, so don't just overlap it. Rage is the only one that can really afford to do something like that, and you don't even want to try to do it on there, but the only reason you would is because you're about to get out of combat, and it's going to reset your enrage anyway. So that would be like the exception. So here I know there's 2 players coming. I don't really want to fight the Mando, so I kind of lined by the tree and tried to make it a little bit harder for the Mando to notice that I was there. So then I could just fight the Marauder in a 1v1. Because I've already won this 1v1, and I just want to, dispatch him so I don't have to fight in a 2v1 situation. I don't want this guy hitting me while I'm hitting this Mando. I just do not want that. So in this situation, I don't even bother to regen because I'm not really scared of the Mando. I've already killed him once before, and I know he probably doesn't have all of his cooldowns. Here, I'm expecting a Reflect, so I smash, and I was right. So I used Dual Saber Throw 2 and a Sweeping Slash. So pretty much at this point, trading my Saber Ward for his Reflect and Energy Shield is relatively worth it. Now, I don't have this node anymore, which is definitely unfortunate, and this is why I end up pretty much leaving after I get, I think, 1 more kill, maybe 2. It really depends. I think I try to fight here, I think I get a kill, and then I think I leave, ask what's going on mid, because nobody's bothered to, come back here in a while, and there's always been at least 2 or 3 of them over here, at least. I would love to do more like things like to explain basically how to fight these things, and or fight like duel like 1vx or whatever. Make it make a little bit more sense for everybody. Because I do end up doing that every now and then. I do find it fun. If every game was like this, I wouldn't have fun with the game anymore. I do not enjoy beating up these players that don't know what they're doing. It is very clear that they don't know what they're doing. They are very, very much so new, and at the very least I do think they're geared, because I'm not hitting extremely hard on them. I'm hitting relatively normal. Look, my numbers might look high, but that's just because I'm optimized, and I also just know what I'm doing on this class. So at the very least they're relatively geared, they're just not very good. But you do have to take in comparison that I've been playing this spec, well not this spec, but this class, and technically this spec since 2.0, and it's been a while. Then I've had like quite a bit of a playtime advantage over a lot of players, so it's completely normal. So here we do get help for the first time in a while. So we'll definitely probably just go back mid here, because I don't think anybody else is going to want to really do anything here. And we'll pretty much just fight at mid, I think, until the game ends. as we do just try to get as much pressure as we can so they get off our side node and just try to keep mid, because we are technically kind of losing mid in this situation. So we're capping the side, we're losing mid, but they're taking ours, so that's fine. So we'll take theirs, and then they'll have to come back and take theirs again, and we'll get ours back while we attack mid. It's a little messy, but sometimes it's just going to be that way. Now, if I wanted to stay in cap objectives, I totally could, but it's not necessarily worth it. Pretty much this whole entire time, at least while I was on an off node, I was creating an advantage here, so under pretty much no circumstances should they have been winning mid with me keeping 3 players over on the side node. While it may not seem that I'm directly playing objectives, I'm doing something that at least create pressure on the map and force them to, I guess, not necessarily respect me, but send more than just one player to stop me. Because if one player is to stop me, then basically my impact over there means nothing. If I can at least bring 2 players, my impact is at least there. But 3 players and more, that's where you really start getting a huge reward of being able to attack a side node. Forcing people to come react to you means that the rest of your team gets a numbers advantage, and whenever they have a numbers advantage, even if it's only 1 or 2 players, it makes a huge difference. I mean, like a huge difference. I don't know how many times I've gone to a 1vx situation where if I just had 1 more body, I might actually win that situation. So it is really definitely something interesting that people should always consider. Just because you can click the objective doesn't mean that you don't need to do combat at all. Like, for example, this person goes in here immediately to try and cap the node. Of course, we're just going to kill you for that. I'm pretty sure they were, a DPS, so they could have just started DPSing. Arsenal has really good bursts, so they could definitely pressure one of us. But instead, they've got one teammate on their team that's constantly pressuring, which is this Guardian. And then this other Jug is like doing his best, but again, matchmaking is a little unfair here. Not everybody is just on the same skill level, and it's going to be really hard to make a good match like that. So I hope you guys appreciate watching, or I hope you guys man, I swear I'll never get these intros right, or outros. See, I mess it up every time. I appreciate you guys for watching. There we go, we got it right. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.